Okay, so it definitely has been quite some time since I made a video. And before I start, I just want to throw it out there that I'm having some really bad allergies right now. And so if you hear me clearing my throat or a little cough, it's just because of that. I'm not like massively sick like I was before. Um, so anyways, I haven't made a video in a long time, and it's funny because one of the songs that God brought to me was a song called That by Psy and Suga from BTS, and the lyric that kept going in my head translated to long time no see, huh? So I just started laughing like, okay, here we go. But I did want to share a dream that doesn't really have anything to do with scripture or anything. It's just personal. But God brought me to a Strong's Greek number that means unhypocritical and sincere, because I'm just going to talk about why I hadn't made a video in a while. So, like, the dreams I have or the things I hear or whatever, you know, trying to put that together, trying to I'm constantly wanting to make sure I don't get it wrong or mess anything up, that it literally causes me to have like some panic, and then I freak out, and then I kind of run. It's just what I do. And as I was coming out of this like anxiety driven like weeks, I was led to just go back and read in past journals because there was something there for me, right? And as I was doing that, gathering the things that actually have to go with now stuff, I saw an entry that I had written in November of 2022. It was November 12th, 2022. And I remember writing this dream and not really, and like I was wondering what was this about, because I actively was not feeling the way that I was in this dream, but I was feeling this way now. So this dream that I had a long time ago, I didn't understand why it was relevant then, but it again, okay, so I'll read the dream. And the reason why this like popped up like so significantly when I read it is because lately everywhere I've been going, I've been noticing playgrounds or words that say playground, and I was like, okay, like what is this about? And so when I read this dream, I was like, that is what this is about. So the dream I wrote, that I was playing in a playground on a merry-go-round, and it was going faster and faster and faster, and then I became anxious and nervous, which made the merry-go-round go even faster. So then I started to hold on to the rails and I was panicking. And then I heard, okay, calm down, relax, then you can see that it's easy to let go and step off. So I was in this cloud and mindset of having so much anxiety over sharing these things and maybe messing up, because I'm really hard on myself if I mess up. Like I don't want to do that. I was in this massive anxiety, like pacing around, and even he brought me songs that one of the lyrics actually said stop pacing, you know, and which is what I've been doing. So this is not easy for me, and I just am sincere about that. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I freaked out and I hid and I ran and I got stuck in my brain and I could not move. It was like a deer in the headlights. And now that I'm over that, I've got a lot of stuff to do because I have so much, and I'm trying not to be overwhelmed with the amount of things I have to share. But you know, God is so good. Like, I remember sleeping and hearing right foot, because like it's just one step, just move one foot, because he's not gonna let me go, and he's not gonna not use me anymore because I am a person and I freaked out about it. Okay, so anyways, I thought that was cool to share, to let you know that like we're people and we're gonna freak out about stuff, and it's normal. You just gotta lean on God and don't get stuck in this anxiety that I did, because you know that merry-go-round for you is just gonna go faster and faster until you let go. So anyways, I will get into the confirmation verses. So I have Romans 9:17, which reads, For scripture says to Pharaoh, I raised you up for this very purpose, that I might display my power in you, and that my name might be proclaimed in all the earth. And then these two verses we've shared before, but it is relevant to these messages that I'm going to be sharing. So I tried to break it down as best as I can. So again, this one is Joel chapter 2, verse 28 and 29. It says, and it shall come to pass afterward that I will pour out my spirit on all flesh. Your sons and daughters shall prophesy, your old men shall dream dreams, your young men shall see visions, and also my men servants and on my maid servants I will pour out my spirit in those days. And then Isaiah 8:12, which is one of my favorites, it says, do not call conspiracy everything this people calls a conspiracy. Do not fear it, and they do not fear what they fear, and do not dread it. So conspiracy is how God got me, so this is really cool. And these dreams are kind of older, so I was like not really thinking I would ever share them, but like, of course, God gave me the verses to go with it, which I was like, whoa, okay, here we go. So I was led to Strong's Greek 3:12. It says, I bring back word, announce, report, and declare. And then Strong's Greek 4:22, it says, having no cause to be ashamed. And then I told you the song that by Psy, which it says long time no see. And then these were some things that I have been like noticing in real life, like things that God is using to grab my attention in real life, which caused me to remember these old dreams. So we were on our way to church and we passed by this house, and I don't know why, but she had a tiny sign in there and in her yard, and I looked at it and it said Jellyfish Lighting. And then 2 stores opened up near me, and they're actually right next to each other. And one of them is called Space Liquor, which I don't, whatever. And the shop next to it is called Galactic Space Shop or Smoke Shop. And then in my closet, there is a bowling pin from when my son had a birthday a long time ago. And at the time, his favorite cartoon was SpongeBob. So that's what's painted on that bowling pin. But when I saw it, the first thing I thought of was jellyfishing. So on the show, they go fishing for jellyfish. And then my husband, he is working on like an army reunion, right? And so they were trying to find a place to go. And so he said, hey, there's this place that opened up. Why don't you come with me while I go down there and see if we can reserve a spot to have this reunion? And I was like, okay, whatever. And I go, and when we pull up, I was like, of course, this is the theme of the place. So the theme of it's like a family fun thing. There's like arcade and bowling and roller skating in there and stuff like that. But it is based off Area 51, so it's like alien stuff. Okay, so I was like, when I went there, I was like, of course, like, why wouldn't it be something involved with space or aliens? If you get where I'm going now with this. And then I kept seeing pennies on the ground, right? Or hearing the word penny. Like, I watched a video and the pet's name was Penny. I saw a penny on the ground. I heard the song, if you see a penny, pick it up, and all day you have good luck, whatever that one is, okay? And then I have a Febreze air freshener, and I just kept looking at it. I'm like, why do I keep looking at this? I know I have this. And when I got closer, it had a fig on it. So the scent was like a fig scent. And then when I was on YouTube, scrolling, a video came up as recommended, and the thumbnail was like a picture of a jellyfish, and it was by a channel called Strange Normal, and the title of it was Jellyfish UFO Explained, which I have not watched, but the thumbnail got my attention, okay? And then they posted that about 3 weeks ago. And then the other morning, like 2 days ago, I came in the living room. My husband was watching YouTube on the TV, and he was watching like a military released footage of something unidentified that was going through an area that they were describing as a jellyfish. which caused me to tell my husband, like, this is crazy because I had a dream about this. So I'm going to get into the dreams. Before that, I heard numerous times the word seer, okay? So this has just been a personal thing I've been going back and forth with, trying to ask God, like, what is going on here? You know, what, I just give these messages, but like, what is this called? And seer, and there's many different ways that God's led me to seer. And in my like doubts and denial of this, I heard Sam I Am, which from like the Cat in the Hat. But in the Bible, Samuel, the prophet, was a seer. So I was like, okay, I get it now. You show me things, I see it. And then to like just really punch in the seeing thing, I heard a song called Dreamers by Jungkook of BTS, but this song is all in English, and he did it for the FIFA. I'm turning the air off, I'm freezing. Okay, and the lyrics are, look who we are the dreamers. We make it happen because we believe it. And then it says, look who we are the dreamers. We make it happen because we can see it. And then I got the song Imagine by John Legend, that's so wrong. John Lennon, sorry. And it says, you may say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. And this just goes back to the verse that God is pouring out his spirit, and there's like many people having dreams, and I'm not the only one who has had this dream. And this will come into play when I start reading these dreams, okay? So back in September of 2022, so it was the September 14th, 2022, I was in this dream. I was leaving this church that my mom used to go to. And as I walked out of the church, there was this massive field in front of the church, which in real life, there's not a field there. And there was a huge gathering of people. Maybe there was something going on, but there was tons of cars parked in the grass. And then, so I'm just going to read it right off the paper. It says, there was lots of people walking around. It was dark. It was nighttime, and I could hear thunder. Then there was lightning that lit up some of the dark clouds. But when that happened, it was enough to illuminate something that was sitting behind the clouds. And when it did that, you could see it was a UFO. So many people began to run, and they were screaming. And I don't know how, but I was able to get into my car and drive away quickly without being stuck in any of the traffic jams. Like in my dream, I was the first one out of there. And then when I get in the car, the first thing I do is I call on, you know, when your phone connects to your car, I call my friend, or at the time this was my friend, and I try to call to tell him something, and someone else answers the phone, and they're trying to like intercept the phone call. And then I said, well, she was like, can I take a message? I was like, just tell him it's happening and that it started. And that's the end of the dream. And then in December 31st of 2022, I had this dream. I was in some kind of military facility. The room I was in had one door and one of those two-way mirrors on the opposite wall. There was a rectangular table with 2 or 3 chairs. My friend, who is the person from the first dream, was in there also. And on the table were 2 notebooks, my dream journal and his dream journal. And we were there to act out different, like a dream. So I had a dream and pieces of it, and apparently in this dream he had a dream and pieces of it. So if you put the 2 dreams together, it painted the big picture, right? And there was also like these clothes on there on the table that had like actors' clothes, like ones that you can put over your clothes with Velcro and then take them off. So we were playing different people that were in the dream. Like we literally were having to act out the dream. So I would play like two people from my dream and switch my clothes and like over my clothes and stuff like that. And then he would do the same. And then when we were leaving, I saw this big building that looked like a garage. It had garage doors open. So it was like an aircraft hangar kind of stuff, because I did see an airplane and I saw a Jeep, one of those ones from those army movies that don't have a top. You know, it just has the little windshield and like a row for the front seat and a row for the back seat. And so I saw one of those. It was like a military Jeep. And then a woman who was wearing a military uniform, but very specifically, she had one of those hats that's kind of like pointy at the top. And I remember asking my husband, like, what army branch wears those? And he just said that the Air Force actually still wears that style of hat. Which would make sense because there was airplanes. But we had to go through this chain link fence. So there was this huge chain link fence, like very high, like you couldn't climb it. So where am I? Okay, then she comes up to me and she tells us that she thanks us for our cooperation, right? And then for some reason she tells me she's sorry for my loss, and I have no idea what she's talking about. Like, to this day I have no idea why she said that in my dream, whatever. And then she tries to like recruit my son. She said, "Oh, I heard you have an older son." I was like, I'm not interested. That's not happening. And then I'm leaving and I get into a truck and I'm driving, and when I look out the window, I see tons of these bluish, almost transparent things that were floating in the air. And they were not high in the air. They were just above the rooftops of the vehicles, and some even passing next to the window, like at that level. And they looked like illuminated jellyfish, okay? And then I saw something that was way bigger, and the only way I could describe it is it was translucent and also a similar color as those jellyfish looking things that were flying by, but it did have more of an outline, more of a white outline, but they were huge. They were long. And the way I described it in my dream when I wrote it down was like, if you see like a Chinese parade and they have that massive dragon, and then people, you know, in the parade, they hold the sticks to hold up the dragon and they dance and it goes, but it's huge, right? I just thought of something. I watched something the other day, and in that video, someone had made, it was like a contest of who could make dumplings. They have leftover flour, you know, whatever it was, but they built one of those Chinese things on there. So of course, anyways, sorry, sidetrack. But that's what it looked like. And it had like these little legs, but you know, they weren't walking, but every like maybe 12 inches, every foot or foot and a half, you could see like a little leg sticking out, and they would just go by, but they were long and they were big. And then what I wrote was that I wasn't shocked to see it, okay? I wasn't surprised. I wasn't like, oh, what is that? What is that? It wasn't like that. The feeling that I wrote in the dream was that, yes, it was new to see that, but I was used to it. Like, it had become something that everyone, or the people, you know, in general, it wasn't shocking anymore to see them. It had been enough to make people just kind of realize that they're there and there's nothing you can do, and you're just kind of numb to it, okay? And then the next dream was August 13th of 2023. And in this dream, I'm driving home, and I have to, when I drive home, it's like a double divided highway. So there's two lanes going one way, there's a big median, and occasionally, you know, there's a crossover, so it's a divided highway. And the other opposite side, there's two lanes that go the opposite direction. So I'm driving in the divided highway, like headed home. And so as I'm headed home, I could see that the 2 lanes on the opposite side, on the other side of the median, they're like at a stopped traffic. They're like not moving. And I'm like, what is going on there? And so when I start driving closer to get to the turn so I could turn across the double highway to my neighborhood, traffic is starting to slow. And then I notice that people in front are like driving across the median to turn around and go back in the direction where all the cars are stalled. And I'm like, or like stopped, like bumper to bumper traffic. And I'm like, what is going on here? And then I was like, you know what, I'm just going to drive a little bit past where I need to turn, and then I'm going to go across the median like these people, but I'm just going to loop around and then just go into my neighborhood. But when I do that, I cross the median and I see why everyone is fleeing, going the opposite direction. There is a huge, massive UFO right there. And the only thing I think of is like, oh, I need to call my friend, which is the friend from the other 2 dreams, and tell him that it's time. What's crazy is like, I'm not even friends with that person anymore. So I am like, why am I telling them? Or maybe God's just bringing it to me that way because, you know, this friend was into conspiracies and found their spiritual journey at the same time as I did. So maybe that's why, but like, nothing bad. I just don't actively talk to that person anymore. And so I hadn't since spring of last year. So for me to have this dream in fall of last year, and in each of these dreams I'm telling that person like, oh, it's time, whatever. So anyways, then I had a dream that, this was more recently, I didn't write the date, that I was at the gym and I saw V from BTS, or Taehyung from BTS, who is like my favorite member of BTS, and he is on a machine, he's working out, and I'm over here trying to act normal and not be like all fangirl about it. And so he turns on his like iPad and he's exercising on a machine that he's kind of leaned back, and so the iPad is above like this so he can watch it while he's working out. And the song, I hear the song say Masho 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 Masho, which is from a song called Dionysus by BTS. So I went to go look up those lyrics, and the lyrics translate to drink it up, drinking glass sipping, and then drink it up, mood keep it, let's get drunk, drink it up, creature of creation, one bite, the pain of the times. And then the Masho Masho Masho, that roughly translates to drink up, drink up, drink up. And then another lyric, which I think I've shared this before, says, I'm at the door of the world right now. Then I had another dream, and it was nighttime, and I was looking up at some clouds, and it was thundering. But when the lightning went off, I saw the shape of like a huge man, a giant man, maybe from like chest up. It was clearly like a man. And then their hand was up, and it was like, not like this, but it was more like out to the side, you know, kind of like, anyways, it was a fist, and it looked like the fist was about to drop, okay, like just boom, okay. And then I was led to Strong's Hebrew 405, which means a hand, and then Strong's Greek 411, which means inexpressible, indescribable, cannot be thoroughly expressed or described, which is the truth. I cannot thoroughly express what I saw, except for it looked like what could be a huge man about to drop his fist on the earth, okay? So whatever. So I'm gonna get a drink, and I'm gonna go into the verses, which is actually just one chapter, Luke 21, and I got it from my Living Bible, which I'm glad that I did because it just made more sense with the dreams, and I was like, oh, this is what this is about. Okay, so it says, as he stood in the temple, he was watching the rich toss their gifts into the collection box. Then a poor widow came by and dropped in 2 small copper coins, which is why I kept seeing pennies, okay? And then, really, he remarked, this poor widow has given more than all the rest of them combined, For they have given a little of what they didn't need, but she, poor as she is, has given everything she has. Some of his disciples began talking about the beautiful stonework of the temple and the memorial decorations on the walls. But Jesus said, "The time is coming when all these things you are admiring will be knocked down, and not one stone will be left on top of the other. All will become one vast heap of rubble." "Master," they exclaimed, "when? And will there be any warnings ahead of time?" He replied, "Don't let anyone mislead you, for many will come announcing themselves as the Messiah and saying, 'The time has come,' but don't believe them. And when you hear of wars and insurrections beginning, don't panic. True wars must come, but the end won't follow immediately. For nation shall rise against nation and kingdom against kingdom, and there will be great earthquakes and famines in many lands and epidemics and terrifying things happening in the heavens. But before all this occurs, there will be a time of special persecution, and you will be dragged into synagogues and prisons and before kings and governors for my name's sake. But as a result, the Messiah will be widely known and honored. Therefore, don't be concerned about how to answer the charges against you, for I will give you the right words and such logic that none of your opponents will be able to reply. Even those closest to you, your parents, your brothers, your relatives, your friends, will betray you and have you arrested, and some of you will be killed. And everyone will hate you because you are mine and you are called by my name. But not a hair on your head will perish. For if you stand firm, you will win your souls. But when you see Jerusalem surrounded by armies, then you will know that the time of destruction has arrived. Then let the people of Judea flee to the hills. Let those in Jerusalem to try to escape, and those outside the city must not attempt to return. For those will be the days of God's judgment. And the words of the ancient scriptures written by the prophets will be abundantly fulfilled. Woe to the expectant mothers in those days, and those with tiny babies, for there will be great distress upon the nation and wrath upon the people. They will turn the page. Be brutally killed by enemy weapons, or sent away as exiles and captives to all the nations of the world. And Jerusalem shall be conquered and trampled down by the Gentiles until the period of Gentile triumph ends in God's good time. There will be strange events in the skies, warnings, evil omens, and portents of the sun, moon, and stars. By the way, I kept seeing sun, moon, and stars everywhere too. Like, there's like a car wash around here, like, called Galaxy Car Wash, and on the side they have like a mural that says "to the moon and back" or something like that, whatever. It says the sun, moon, and stars, and down here on earth the nations will be in turmoil, perplexed by the roaring seas and strange tides. The courage of many people will falter because of the fearful fate they see coming upon the earth, for the stability of the very heavens will be broken up. Then the peoples of the earth shall see me, the Messiah, coming in a cloud with power and great glory. So when all these things begin to happen, stand straight and look up, for your salvation is near. Then he gave them this illustration. Notice the fig tree, which the fig spray that I had, or any other tree. When the leaves come out, you know without being told that summer is near. In the same way, when you see the events taking place that I've described to you, when you see the events taking place that I've described, you can be just as sure that the kingdom of God is near. I solemnly declare to you that when these things happen, the end of the age has come. And though all heaven and earth shall pass away, yet my words remain forever true. Watch out. Don't let my sudden coming catch you unawares. Don't let me find you living in careless ease, carousing and drinking, and occupied with the problems of life. Like all the rest of the world, keep a constant watch and pray that if possible you may arrive in my presence without having to experience these horrors. Every day Jesus went to the temple to teach, and the crowds began gathering early in the morning to hear him. And each evening he returned to spend the night on the Mount of Olives. Now, I had something written on here that I forgot to type on here, and it was from July 16th, 22. And it's what I heard in my sleep was, on the cloudiest day you've ever seen, the sun, S-O-N, is going to be brilliant. So that kind of goes with the thing in the cloud, because it was a dark night and I saw that behind the clouds. And then I'm going to go back to this verse right here. Verse 36, it says, keep a constant watch and pray that if possible you may arrive in my presence without having to experience these horrors. This verse is going to lead into the next several dreams that I'm going to share, because they're kind of scary. Like, part of the reasons why I was like panicking, one thing I heard a long time ago was, you have to get used to seeing things you don't like the good things and the bad things, okay? Whether it has to do with a message share or personal life. And so this is just one of those things that I see it and it is frightful. And I don't, I'm not the only one who's having dreams like this, I'm sure. I mean, I haven't watched a lot of stuff because, like, I don't want anything influencing my dreams. So I literally watched Judge Judy. Like, this Judge Judy and like K-drama, like love stories and stuff. So it's like, I can't let news or things like that affect me, because I don't want to have a dream about it that is just, you know, because of something I've seen. Like, I have to like limit the intake. Like, your eyes are the, what is that verse? Your eyes are the lamp. Like, don't let things in there, you know what I mean? Whatever, I'm blabbering. So the next things that I'm going to share are probably not going to be the most pleasant, but like it says right here, hopefully we'll arrive in his presence without having to experience those horrors. Okay, so anyways, always find the light, and I will be back with another message. I'm trying to get it done so I can upload them quickly. Anyways, okay, thanks.